Leo stepped out from the small carnival and walked along the yellow rice fields toward the densely overgrown hill. At the top of the hill, a tavern had already lit its sparkling lights in the gloomy afternoon. At the foot of the hill, Leo met 3 strangers, 2 women and 1 man sitting beside each other under a large mango tree. The young man in the middle smiled and greeted Leo. Being cheerful and sociable by nature, Leo soon poured out all of his thoughts to the 3 strangers. Leo condemned the carnival as boring nonsense, nothing but a scam to deceive people, a bunch of soul sellers to Satan who knew no shame. The 3 strangers said nothing but appeared to agree with Leo. The young man stood up and said that the 3 of them had to go to the tavern up there, inviting Leo to come along. He happily agreed. As they walked up the hill, chatting along the way, Leo began to notice the silence around him. Looking up, he saw that the 3 strangers had vanished without a trace, leaving only the green bushes swaying in the wind. Suddenly, a girl's whispering voice echoed out. "His time has come," Leo replied. "What is it?" The young man's voice roared. "You're dead for sure." Leo jumped in fright and landed on the ground, running for his life. After 50 steps, he looked back to see what was happening and saw 2 dark figures emerging from the bushes, their enormous wings blocking the sunset and casting terrifying shadows across the fields. Leo burst into tears because he knew he was surely going to die, but he was running so fast that no sound came out. He intended to run toward the carnival to seek help, but the entire carnival had disappeared without a trace. Around him now there remained only the freshly harvested rice field, straw yellow in color, and the lush green bushes in the distance. A few hundred steps ahead stood 3 ancient tamarind trees growing close together, their branches thick and leafy, towering like the house of the neighborhood chief where he lived. Leo changed direction, zigzagging into the vivid green bushes. From above, claws swooped down 2 or 3 times, nearly grabbing him. After several minutes of scrambling and tumbling, he managed to hide himself in a patch of bushes no larger than his mother's small garden. Only 1 minute more, and the entire patch would be torn apart. Leo raised his head slightly and saw the 2 monsters at the opposite end. They had enormous ears, bat-like faces, blood-red eyes, and horrifying rows of sharp teeth. He quickly ran and climbed up one of the tamarind trees to hide. In an instant, the bushes became nothing more than a flat patch of ground, as though cut clean by a machine. The 2 monsters circled the fields twice before landing on the tamarind trees beneath whose canopy Leo was hiding. They were so large and heavy that the 3 closely growing tamarind trees bent apart and swayed whenever the monsters roared. They argued because they had lost Leo. They urged each other to use their sharp eyes to look again and see where Leo was hiding. Every movement they made and every word they uttered caused the tamarind trees to sway, letting orange rays of the evening sun fall upon Leo. Terrified, Leo considered jumping to another branch, but with the trees shaking so violently, he could not do it. He clung tightly to the branch, praying they would not look down where he was hiding. Looking upward through the tamarind leaves, Leo could see how terrifying they were. Yet the spots of sunlight moving around him and the drifting breeze made him think how beautiful and horrifying the sunset was at the same time. A few seconds later, they argued again. This time they argued so fiercely that the 2 tamarind trees spread apart, completely exposing Leo in the sunlight. In horror, Leo dropped to the ground and sprinted desperately toward a large shack on the right. Only then did they notice him. They burst into loud laughter, and within moments they were right behind him. Zigzagging once again, Leo leapt onto the main shack, opened the door, stepped inside, and slammed it shut instantly, trapping the head of one monster in the doorway. It cried out in pain, laughed loudly, and returned to its original human form. The monster pulled its head free. Leo shut the door tightly and locked it. A roar sounded, followed by violent impacts against the door that nearly made Leo faint. He collapsed, clutching his chest, tears streaming down his face. Turning to his left, he saw an enormous blacksmith's hammer. Leo quickly grabbed it. Approaching the door, he prepared himself and placed his hand on the latch. Through the wall, Leo could see the monster backing up several meters to gather all its strength for one final charge. The monster lunged toward the door. Leo opened it. Only a few centimeters remained before the monster's claws reached him, but the hammer had already swung upward from beneath its chin, sending it crashing backward unconscious. Without hesitation, Leo swung again from a distance, striking the thigh of the female monster perched on the ground. She cried out in agony and tried to take flight with her crippled leg. Leo immediately snapped the male's neck and chased after the female. Blood poured out, forming a red trail across the golden rice field. Now Leo was the one in control. Pride swelled within him. Channeling his strength into the stone in his hand, he hurled it. The stone struck the flying monster precisely at the back of its neck, causing it to fall. It tried to fly again. Leo jumped onto its body. The two of them rose into the air together. Leo wrapped his arm around the monster's neck, threatening to snap it or smash the stone into its head if it did not keep flying. After traveling some distance toward the hill, Leo suddenly delivered a fatal blow, sending both of them tumbling violently to the ground. Leo struggled to his feet and walked toward the tavern at the top of the hill. Opening the door, he ordered a drink, but the place remained silent, with no one saying a word. He closed the door. His hands were covered in blood. He poured himself a glass of red wine and smiled.